Ever heard of emotional intelligence or EQ? It's all the rage these days, and it's actually been around for decades, and in my, let's be honest, not so humble opinion, it's mostly new packaging for much older wisdom. But sometimes new packaging can do wonders for communication and for how easy it is to apply in the real world. And a fresh look can also help shed light on important topics like emotional intelligence. My name is Christian. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Zoios, a platform that helps leaders balance well-being and performance. Besides that, I speak at many tech conferences and have been a part of Forbes' HR Council. And lastly, I've been a leader myself for nearly 10 years, and I'm still constantly learning to be a better one. When you've watched this video, you'll know the 4 types or the 4 quadrants of emotional intelligence. And hopefully you'll also be able to begin applying the model and the theory of emotional intelligence in your work. We'll, throughout this video, use Sophie as an example to use for this case. Truly knowing this model would allow her to not only grow personally, but also to help others accomplish great things as their leader. Things typically start from within, and emotional intelligence is no different. Okay, let me introduce you to the model. It's a 2x2 matrix. Wait, do we have a whiteboard? We found a whiteboard, and as you can see, it's a 2x2 matrix. So, as the columns, we have the self and social. This one is also sometimes called others. And then as the rows, we have awareness, which is sometimes also called recognize, and we have affect, which is also sometimes called regulate. And as you'll see, we have also numbered them here. So we go from the first quadrant to the second one, managing the self. We also see the arrows. They indicate that you sort of move from 1 to 2 and 3, but that these two ultimately end up meaning like how your emotional intelligence is able to affect others as well. So now that we have a visualization of the model, then let's start by looking at Sophie's first quadrant, the first level of emotional intelligence, and that is her awareness of her own emotions. So the first quadrant will include stuff like registering and understanding your emotions and feelings. Also, accurately self-assessing your strengths and your limitations. And the third and last thing is a degree of self-confidence and self-worth. The next level of the model is still within the self, but that is Sophie's ability to affect the self. Most would call this self-management, others would call it self-regulation. And in modern days, self-regulation specifically have been found to be one of the absolute strongest predictors of success in life, however you want to quantify that. But this second quadrant includes being able to regulate emotions and impulses, maintaining a standard of honesty, integrity, and dependability, and being able to adapt to changes and obstacles in one's environment. Now moving from the self column to the social column, but also moving a row back up to the awareness row. This is the third quadrant, and that includes stuff like social sensitivity, which many would translate to empathy to a larger extent. But there's also something called cultural awareness of the ways of working within a team or organization, but it could also have been a group of friends. So Sophie needs to be aware of and understand the meeting rituals, the project management best practices, the product roadmaps, the different teams and their goals. So to understand the incentive structures of the organization that they might have put in place. And I think this is critical to mention because those are the type of information that will help Sophie, in her case, understand why people behave the way they do. And last but not least, she also needs to understand what you could a little technically call the delivery model, or essentially how the company is able to produce value for customers. And that leads us to the fourth and the last quadrant. And that is where we take a look at the intersection between affect and social. So none of these quadrants are easy to work with, but this might be the most diverse one. There are so many things that fall into this quadrant. In this quadrant, to simplify it, Sophie aims to develop her emotional intelligence to be able to inspire and influence the direction of a group positively, to behave thoughtfully and respectfully towards others, manage or mediate conflicts, build meaningful bonds, and is hopefully great at collaborating and compromising in her team. And by that, you have now officially been introduced to the 4 quadrants of emotional intelligence, also frequently referred to as EQ. This model is, in my opinion, excellent to use for development planning or as a model for a conversation in terms of development or reflection. To keep this video on point, we've decided to make a different video with 7 amazing ideas that you can easily implement tomorrow that will absolutely level up your emotional intelligence and give you some tools that you can either use yourself or teach others if you already do them. If you want to see that video, we'll link to it somewhere here. A special thanks should go out to Daniel Goleman for developing this widely respected model. But also thanks to you for watching. If you've made it this far, I hope you've enjoyed the content and found it valuable. It would mean a lot to me and our team if you would help us by liking the video. We don't produce a ton of videos, but instead focus on high quality. So if you want to see more videos like this one, you can subscribe to our channel. If you're curious about having better data and a platform to help you lead your team, then check out our website. You might find that very interesting. Have a wonderful day.